Well, today I'm going to talk you through the presentation about Radboud University. And if you have any questions, then I think it's best that you send them to Avani, and she can send them to me, and then I will answer them at the end of the presentation. I think the presentation will be recorded, so you can all see it afterwards as well. So if if something's going too fast, then you can always re-see it. I have shown my screen, so you can all see the presentation. That also means you can't see me, but that's okay. The presentation is more important than that I am in this case. Where are we? We are located in the Netherlands, as you probably all know, and this gives you an idea of where we are in the world. And I included a lot of pictures so you have an idea of what it looks like here. I have no idea whether you've actually been to the Netherlands or not. So just in case you have not, then you can get an idea of what the country and the campus looks like. So why would you study in the Netherlands? First of all, we have excellent education. We're actually, after the UK and the US, the country with the most universities in the top 200 of the rankings. And we only have 13 research universities, so that's actually quite impressive. We have a strong focus on analytical skills, and yeah, these are skills that come in really handy later on in life for students, and that's also probably why we have so many entrepreneurial pioneers. There's a lot of startups from students that graduate, and also from international students. We are a multicultural society. I believe that even at our university alone, there are over 180 nationalities, so that's quite a lot. And students get really good value for money for their education here. There are two types of higher education in the Netherlands. We have research universities and universities of applied sciences. There are 13 research universities, as I mentioned before, and there are over 40 universities of applied sciences. And it's not that one is better than the other, but one is more practically oriented than, the universities of applied sciences are more practically oriented, and research universities are more research oriented. And we do see that the difference between the two is fading a little bit, so that we have more internships at research universities and more research at universities of applied sciences. But in general, this is still the difference. Also, a lot of universities of applied sciences, bachelors are 4 years, whereas bachelors at research universities are usually 3 years. Nijmegen is a city about an hour and a half from Amsterdam, and Schiphol Airport is about an hour and a half as well. There's a direct train connection, so that's really good for students coming from India. It's really close by to the airport. They don't have to go far, and of course the country's not so big anyway. There are some other airports nearby where students can fly from to explore Europe when they're here. And obviously, yeah, when they come all the way from India, it would be really wise to actually explore the rest of Europe as well. So we encourage them to do that as well. This is an impression of our city. The city of Nijmegen is the oldest city in the Netherlands. It's over 2,000 years old, and the buildings that you can see in our city also reflect that, although there are a lot of newly built buildings as well. It's a medium-sized town with approximately 170,000 people living there. I think this is actually a perfect combination of a city and not too busy. There are hardly, well, there are sometimes some traffic jams in the city, but not so much. And students can cycle anywhere without running the risk of being run over by a tram, for instance, which you would have in Amsterdam. So it's a really relaxed and safe place to go to. So I think especially for parents, it's really good to know that they would send their students to a safe city. It's also easily accessible. It's about an hour from Schiphol, hour and a half from Schiphol, hour from Utrecht. There's an hour from Maastricht, and highways and train connections are really good. As I said, it's easy to get around by bicycle. Everybody does that. So in the first week that the students get here, we advise them to buy a bike. Their mentors will also take them to buy a bike. And then they can also explore our lively student life. There are over 12% of the people in Nijmegen are actually students. So a lot of the people are students. And this also makes for the restaurants and the pubs also cater for students a lot, by means of discounts, for instance. There's a rich cultural life. We have a lot of festivals going on, food festivals, music festivals, also historical festivals. So there's a lot to do from that point of view. And there's also a lot of cafes and shopping opportunities. And as I showed you before, it's a really good hub to explore the rest of the Netherlands and Europe even. So why would students choose our university? Well, first of all, we're internationally recognized, so that means that students will definitely get a diploma that they can use anywhere else in the world. We have a very personal approach to teaching. I will get back to that later. There's an extensive freedom of choice in the courses that they can do. This is for bachelor students already, but it's for master students even more. Students can often choose a specialization within a program, and usually within the specialization they can choose from at least 2 or 3 elective courses. We have excellent services and facilities, and yeah, I think this is one of the main things that students say when they get here, is that like, wow, you told us that the services and the facilities are good, but the buildings are so new, and there's computers for everybody, and they're working all the time, and the internet is reliable. So yeah, students really back us up on that one as well. We value career services a lot, so we find it important that students build up a valuable network when they get here already, and that also helps with their career prospects. Each faculty has its own career department where students can go for help. Obviously, Nijmegen is an asset. It's a great city to live in, so that's definitely a reason to come here. And we are one of the 2 universities in the Netherlands that actually have a campus. The other one is Twente University, a more technical university. And yeah, apart from that, we have a campus. And that means that all buildings from the university are in one location on 1 square kilometer. And that also gives a really nice, vibrant feel to it, because yeah, you will meet students anywhere on campus. And the location of the campus is really good. It's in the cities. It's in the city, about 10 minutes from the city center, and that 10 minutes is by bike, so that's really good. So this is an impression of the campus. As you can see, it's a combination of modern, very modern buildings. Our law faculty, which you can see at the bottom right, was built 2 years ago. And currently we're building a new Nijmegen School of Management, and after that we're building a new social sciences faculty. The building that you see at the top right is the oldest building on campus, and that's where it all started in 1923. We have almost 20,000 students, and about 10% of them are international, and we have a lot of international staff as well. Because we're a research university, our research institutes are very important, and each of our faculty and each of our programs are connected to at least one, but mostly multiple research institutes. These cover all research areas, but obviously we're known for some fields better than others. We have the Donders Institute for Neuroscience, which is very popular, very well known also among Indian students. We also see a lot of Indian students doing our masters in cognitive neuroscience. And another research institute that's popular is the Max Planck Institute for Psycholinguistics, which is a German institute that has one branch in the Netherlands, and that's on our campus. Well, here you can see a couple of the institutes and facilities that we have. Students, especially master students, take part in a lot of research themselves already. So it's not that they have to watch or hear from their professors what's being done. We find it very important that students do their own research. Then, very important for your students, obviously, is the options that they have when they want to come and study here. We have 37 bachelor's programs, of which 8 are taught in English, and 50% of our master's programs are taught in English. We have a very personal style of teaching. We find it very important that students voice their opinions, that they're asked for their opinions, that they let the professors know if they don't agree with something, especially because that's how they learn to build up an argumentation on why they disagree with something. And we also ask them to do a lot of teamwork. So they have to group up and give presentations. They have to prepare case studies or write plans to present to a company, for instance. So there's a lot of interaction and a lot of preparations outside of class. So in some countries, what we see is that students often just have to reproduce what the professor is saying, but that's certainly not the case with us. We want students to read the books and to hear what the professors are saying. But after that, we want them in their exams, for instance, to apply that knowledge instead of just reproducing it. Especially for the bachelors, the first year they should count on approximately 38 to 40 hours of studies per week. And for the second and third year of the bachelor's and in the master's, the study load is approximately 35 to 38 hours per week. This is not only classwork, this is also the preparations, the reading books, the preparing for exams. And it's also important to know that attendance is obligatory. Obviously, sometimes students are ill, and that's fine, but they are expected to appear in class also because they have to do these case studies and give presentations and give feedback. So it's very important that they're there. 1 year consists of 60 European credits, and each credit is approximately 40 hours of study per week. I already mentioned that we have really small lectures and classes, and this is also good to meet fellow students and where students feel comfortable enough to provide feedback and ask questions. We really want them to actively participate, and I can't stress this enough, because what we see with international students is that they often find it quite a different way of studying, especially when students have studied for their bachelor's in the country where they come from, and then come to the Netherlands. It's often quite a culture shock, so it's really good to prepare them for that already. The bachelor's programs that we teach at the moment are artificial intelligence, arts and culture studies, business administration, chemistry, economics, international business communication, molecular life sciences, and psychology. And as of September 2018, we're also going to teach biology and computing science in English. So I thought I'd let you know. You're one of the first to know that. Students that want to do a bachelor's with us have to have a diploma that is the equivalent of a Dutch VWO diploma, and all diplomas will be assessed individually. Usually what we see for the bachelor's is that students that come from an international baccalaureate are eligible, and what we often see is that students that come from a high school from India often need to do 1 year of university before they start, but it depends on the type of high school they come from. As for language requirements, we require an IELTS of at least 6.0, and for chemistry and molecular life sciences require an IELTS of 6.5 at least. Students have to submit their application in StudyLink and then upload all the documents in our own application system, which is called Osiris application. And they have to do this before the 1st of April, so the deadline has just passed. And if they apply before the 1st of April, then we will guarantee, well, not guarantee, but we can almost guarantee that we find accommodation for them, and we can make sure that their visa is on time. Students can still apply until the 1st of May. That's the final deadline. But then we cannot guarantee the accommodation anymore, and we will do our best to get the visa done in time, but it might be delayed a little bit. And our deadline for psychology is each year on the 15th of January because there's a selection procedure. So yeah, the deadline to start in September 2018 is the 15th of January. We, for the bachelor's, work with the binding study advice. All Dutch universities do that, which is issued at the end of the first year. And it determines whether a student is allowed to continue with the bachelor's program that they're doing. And the decision is based on the progress that they made in the first year. If they obtain more than 42 European credits out of the 60, then they're allowed to continue. If they're not, then they're not allowed to continue. And they're not allowed to continue with the same program at a Dutch university for the next 3 years. So it's very important that bachelor students in the first year pass the first year at least 42 European credits. We have 36 master's programs, and it goes a bit far to mention them all here, but we have programs in these fields. And what's important is that when you look at medical sciences, we don't offer a program in becoming a doctor, but these are research programs. So we have biomedical sciences and molecular mechanisms of disease, and these are very popular among Indian students. Our program in computing science is very popular, especially the specialization in computer security. And this program in cognitive neuroscience attracts a lot of Indian students as well. It's a program that focuses on neuroscience, but you can have a background from different perspectives, such as physics, linguistics, psychology, pedagogical sciences, or biology. So students from a lot of different angles can be eligible for this program. For a master's degree, you need to have the equivalent of a Dutch bachelor's degree obtained at a research university. And this usually means that students have to come from a 5-star or AAA university in India. Otherwise, they may be offered a pre-master's. A pre-master's is often needed when students either lack the knowledge of the certain discipline, or when they don't have enough methodology and statistics subjects done in their bachelor's. And this is always up to the examination board, and the examination board assesses each diploma individually. As for the master's, we require an IELTS of at least 6.5, and some masters require even higher scores. For the master's, the deadlines of application are as follows. For language and communication and historical, literary and cultural studies, the deadline is the 15th of April, and that's also the final deadline. For all other faculties, the 15th of February. For all other faculties, the deadline is the 1st of April for the service package, and that means the guaranteed accommodation and the visa assistance again. Apart from medical sciences, biomedical sciences and molecular mechanisms of disease, they have a service package deadline of the 1st of March. So at the moment, Indian students can apply for all programs still until the 1st of May, apart from the programs in language and communication, historical, literary and cultural studies, biomedical sciences and molecular mechanisms of disease. All other programs they could still apply for. Then for our tuition fees, they are quite a bit lower than for other Dutch universities. And the highest price that students pay is 10,360 euros for programs in science, medical science, artificial intelligence, or cognitive neuroscience. Then students often want to know what else it costs. I mean, tuition fees are obviously not the only thing that they would have to pay for. In total, we tell students that they should consider approximately 9,000 euros for a year. This does include accommodation and living expenses. but they shouldn't go overboard with the craziness of going to a pub or eating out for a meal every day, because then they won't make it with the 9,000 euros. But on average, students live with approximately 9,000 euros per year. We also have some scholarships that students can apply for. First of all, there's the Radboud Scholarship Program. This is a scholarship where students can get a discount on the tuition fee. Instead of the 9,400 or 10,300, they pay 2,006 euros. So they pay the tuition fees of European students, and their visa and insurances are covered. Then specifically for Indian students, we have the Holland Scholarship, which is a scholarship for 5,000 euros. And we have some faculties that also offer a scholarship, such as biomedical sciences and molecular mechanisms of disease. They have a full scholarship available. And our programs at the Faculty of Arts, all the one-year programs, they have a scholarship that gives another 5,000 euros as well. The deadlines for all scholarships that I just mentioned is the 1st of April, so it just passed. Then students are also allowed to work. Alongside their studies, they can work for a maximum of 10 hours per week, and they need a work permit to be allowed to work. So what students need to do if they want to find a job is find somebody that wants to hire them, and that employer needs to apply for their work permit. Once the work permit is there, it usually takes approximately 4 weeks, they are allowed to work. I mentioned accommodation a couple of times. It's often quite difficult to find accommodation, so that's why we have a service so that we find accommodation for everyone. And the further they come from, the quicker we will try to find a room for them. And they always have their own private room, and they share their bathroom and kitchen facilities. What we do is, in the order of application, especially after the 1st of April, we give students a voucher code, and with this voucher they can log on to the accommodation system and book themselves a room. The system is also called Book Your Room, so that's relatively easy. And so students can pick their own room also for the price that they want to pay. And if they don't want to use the system, then they can contact us, and they can also get a room through the private sector. For all students that come either in September or February, we organize an orientation week. And we recommend students to take part in this because it's a really good way to get to know the campus, the city, all our systems, but most importantly also their fellow students. And it's very important when you move to a new country not to feel too lonely. So this is the best way to start out, because you will get a great first week. A lot will be organized. It's a social week, but also we will give you introductions to everything you need to know at the university. So it's something that students shouldn't miss. Students usually want to go abroad again when they study here, especially when they they're doing a 2-year master's or a 3-year bachelor's program. Students that do a 1-year master's program often don't have the time to study abroad again. And it's good for them to know that we have a really large international network. We have approximately 400 universities all over the world that we have contracts with and contacts, and this is where students can study for an exchange period abroad again. Also, they can go for internships abroad or in the Netherlands as part of their studies as well. Very important for international students are the rankings. We are currently ranked 125th in the Times Higher Education rankings. And we were rated best general university in 2017 and also in the 5 years before that. And this is a Dutch a questionnaire among Dutch students, so the fact that they rate us the best is a really good compliment for us. Some other things that students can do here is the Radboud Summer School. This is a summer school that offers 40 challenging courses, and we're getting bigger every year. on bachelor's, master's, and PhD level. Application is still possible, although the discount, the early bird discount, ended on the 1st of April. We have one of the best sports centers in Europe. In 2013, we participated in the International Student Barometer, and we were ranked the best there among all the students within Europe, so we're really proud of that. We're going to take part in that questionnaire again next year, and hopefully, yeah, the sports center is so fantastic that we're confident that we'll be on top again. And it costs students only €100 per year, and then they can play over 70 sports for as many times as they want a week. So whether they go twice a day or only once a week, it's completely up to them. And they can do pretty much anything they want, from swimming to rock climbing to football to using the gym, squash. There's pretty much nothing they can't do. So it's a great facility. We also have a Radboud Honors Academy, which is a great program for if students want to do something extra challenging next to their bachelor's or master's. We usually recommend bachelor students to start in their 2nd year and master students in their 1st or 2nd year, depending on how many years they're going to do their master's for. And they can either do an extra interdisciplinary program or a disciplinary program, which is in the same field as they're studying in. And this means that they would do extra courses, and they also get an extra certificate for this. I also mentioned the career services already. Each faculty has a career services office where students can go for their CV check, for a job application, help with that. Each faculty has its own web portal with vacancies, also for internships, but also for jobs after they graduate. And they organize career events. So it's very important for students to take part in that. And what's a great asset of the Netherlands compared to the UK is that students are allowed to stay for 1 year after they graduate, when they come from India, for instance. This is called the orientation year or search year, and it means that they can get a residence permit to orient themselves on the Dutch labor market after a bachelor's, master's, PhD, or postdoc program. And obviously, they still need to be able to finance themselves, but it gives them the time to stay here and to look for a job. They don't have to go back straight away, which is the case in the UK at the moment. Okay, well, I got the contact details of the admission office here. They are the people that deal with all the applications, also the applications that you have going at the moment. They are extremely busy at the moment. We had an overwhelming number of applications in the last week and a half, more than we ever had and more than we imagined. So at the moment they're working really hard to process everything and to send everything to the separate exam committees that will make the decisions. This might also mean that the time that it takes for students to receive an answer on whether they're admissible or not might be a bit longer than 4 weeks. We're trying to keep this to a minimum, but yeah, we have to look at each file individually, and everybody deserves all the care that they can get. So we definitely want to give them the attention that they need. There is a direct phone number to the admission office mentioned here. If you have a question about an application, you can always call them. I am your first contact person, and yeah, I usually have a lot of email contact with Avani, and I think that she will email me to ask me about the status, but if there's an emergency, then at least you know where to go to. Well, that was the presentation that I had for you today, the training. I hope that this is kind of what you were hoping for, and that it answered many questions that you had. I don't expect a lot of things to change in September, because obviously then we have our new recruitment season. But little things might, and by that time we will send you our new handbook, and also we have our agent newsletter that we send each month. We send out to you guys. I know not everybody's on the list, but if you want to be added to the list, then just send me an email or let Avani know so that I can add you to the mailing list. Well, thank you very much. I think that's it for now. I will stop the recording and show the screen, but if you have any questions, then I'll come back on.